Alright, so I thought I'd go ahead and finish off the trilogy here while I'm at it. This is 2024 reaction. Obviously, I'm gonna have some similar opinion to this. This was like just like not very long ago, but I just thought I'd go through it, see if my opinions have differed even in this short period of time. So let's see what we got here.
2024 started off kind of slow for me music-wise.
I miss
didn't
my
really
fucking long
find
hair, bro.
myself getting too much into any new music that came out within the first few months of the year. But by the end of the year, I ended up having a hard time kind of narrowing down my list for my favorite albums of the year. So just kind of had a delayed start for me this year. I wasn't too optimistic about it, as like some of the releases that were coming out that I was anticipating weren't really like matching up at the time, and so it was just a slow start, but it ended up being a really good year for music, and a lot of my favorite artists like of all time released albums this year. And I'm pretty excited to go ahead and go into my list for this year. Ended up being just a year all around. All around, so it's just a much better year than last year, and just really more of a positive year for me, and I'm excited to go through this list here, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. Number 24, Deterioration, Paranoia, and Violence. This is a kind of a grindcore band, brutal band from, I think they're from Minnesota or somewhere up there, up north in the United States. And this is just like a little fun, short little record here, just like fast, brutal, just like these kind of fun, hilarious samples mixed in with the sound. And I just been really like got into this sound earlier in the year, and it's just like one that kind of stands out to me and is really cool and fun. Number 23,
so yeah, I have the tape. Still like that one. It's really fun. It is like, it would probably still rank a little bit lower on the list, but it's this fun little thing there. Yes.
Triple Digits, 112. This hip-hop artist that was part of the hip-hop collective called Injury Reserve, now defunct since their
Injury Reserve in the background there.
One of their members passed away a few years ago. They released their final album, By the Time I Get to Phoenix, in 2021, which is still one of my favorite hip-hop albums I've ever heard in my life. Such a unique sounding album. But Richie, this is his first kind of solo project here since Injury Reserve, and it's just a fun little hip-hop album, a little rough around the edges, but I think that adds character to it, and I like it quite a lot. Just kind of fun, just kind of abstract and kind of cloud rap mixed up in here, and just a solid one that I was listening to earlier this year a lot.
Still
22.
Haven't gone back to that album very much, but I still like it quite a lot, and I was listening to it a lot that year. So
Pussy, I've Got Heaven. This is a kind of hardcore punk, kind of indie-ish band that I actually found out about years ago when they opened for the band Japanese Breakfast. That I saw in 2021, and I really liked their performance, thought it was fun, and ended up seeing them the next year as well and live. And I hadn't really like gotten too into their music, just like their studio stuff. I didn't find myself listening to it, but I gave this album a shot this year, and I actually really liked it. Like especially the indie songs on it. They're just like great, just straight up kind of indie songs. I just think they did them so well. They're just like catchy, and just like I like the sound of them. Just a great little solid little project.
Yeah, the indie songs are the standout ones from that album, but I still haven't really gone back to that one very much. But
21, Idols, Tank. Idols is actually one of my favorite modern bands, punk bands, indie-ish. I don't really call them, I guess they have some indie influence. I mean, indie's influenced by punk music, but kind of, I guess you can consider them post-punk as well. Different kind of style of post-punk. And this is more of an art punk album, and I really like a lot of their older stuff. Their first album is probably my favorite, Brutalism, and I go back to that one quite often, more than any other ones. But they've been kind of changing their sound a little bit more in the past two albums. Crawler that came out in 2021, and now this one, Tang, came out this year. And I'm liking the style change. It's not my favorite of theirs, but I'm still interested to see what they have in the future. This ended up being a pretty solid album.
I still really like Idols. Have not really listened to them much recently. Um, and I don't know. They're a pretty solid band, but not one I really like have been thinking about very much in the past little bit.
20, Noel, as spoken. This is a experimental kind of black and grindcore band from Tennessee. They came onto my radar a few years ago when I started listening to their album called Metampiric that came out in 2022. And that album is just sick. I just really love just like the brutality of it. It's just, and the vocals are just like really insane and wild. And I just really got hooked on them. And then I ended up seeing them in early 2023 in Asheville, North Carolina. And that was one of my favorite shows. And I got to meet the lead guy. His name is James. I forget what he goes by. But he was just a really awesome, solid, all around guy. And I enjoyed talking with him. And he was just like um, he was so just appreciative of me like taking the drive down there just to go see them, and he just seemed like a really cool guy, and it's interesting just like seeing how like friendly he is, and when he's talking to you and then goes on stage and just has like this whole and like intense persona and stuff. But as spoken is a pretty solid album, not my favorite of theirs so far, but it's still up there, and they keep expanding the length of their albums. This one's got over 40 minutes long, but definitely one I still put on quite often is just a cool, just brutal grindcore album, and funeral grind as they like to call themselves. 19.
That album haven't gone back to as much, but I think I like it more than I even did when I made this video. To be honest, it would probably be a little bit higher on the list now, maybe. But like I said, I don't really listen to it that much. Haven't been going back to them too much. And that Metampiric album from 2022 is the one that stands out the most to me in their discography.
Chat Doma, Malaya Pelosa. This is a great synth pop band, modern synth pop band. They've experimented with a lot of different sounds within synth pop over their career going right now. I think their first album came out in 2017. That happens to be my favorite by theirs. I just like the raw kind of lo-fi production on that one. But this one was really fun too. I've found myself going back to it quite a lot this year since it came out. And it was one I was anticipating coming out as well. I wasn't too excited about it, I guess, but then when I actually started listening to it, I gave it a shot. I actually really liked it. I didn't really like the singles from it that much, but it ended up being a great album, and happy that I ended up liking it. 18.
That album is pretty fun. Not another one I haven't gone back to too much either since that time. So I don't know. that's kind of the base of that. That's why I'm like thinking like making these videos. Like I only did 10 albums last year, but like I listened to a lot of music that came out last year, and there's a lot of stuff that stuck with me last year. But I was just like really thinking more about like the stuff that I really came back to and like really kind of wrapped up the year. And I think I made these lists too long just for the sake of making them long. I don't know, but I feel like in the future, like it's just going to be a much shorter list for the end of the year for stuff that actually stood out to me. And I'm not like that excited about looking into new music as much right now, so we'll see if that progresses or whatever.
Floating Points, Cascade. I've talked about this album quite a few times. I've gone back to it a bit since it came out, and I was actually anticipating it quite a lot when I first heard about it. It came out a few months ago, and it's a great just ambient techno album, and I just really like that sound. It's really clean production and just sounds really great, and I like turning it on. I like the album artwork, and yeah, it's just a solid one to turn on when I'm just kind of chilling or doing something.
That's one I really want to go back to again. I do really like that album, and I really want to go back to the Pharoah Sanders collaboration they did with Floating Points. I'm really intrigued by that as well. So I've just been really getting more interested in like ambient, electronic kind of shit. It's just another big thing for me that I love so much and brings me comfort and intrigue.
17. Nails. Every Bridge Burning. Nails is a really solid power violence, grindcore, death metal, whatever, mixing those sounds in with their music. And they're just so brutal and fast. And like this album's only like 17 minutes long or something like that. And but I always had a soft spot for their first album, which is Unsilent Death. And their first two albums, really, they're just really solid. Don't love the vocals. Have they changed up so much
The third
over
one
the
is
years? I don't
solid
really
too.
love the vocals too much on this project, but it's still pretty solid. And it's still just like as fast and brutal and crushing as the other ones have been. And didn't find myself coming back to it too much. I was mostly like, I was listening to it a good amount when it came out, and I still like it, but I just really love the early stuff so much more. But it's still definitely worthy putting on this list just because they're just like fairly unique in a way, I guess I'd say, and they were just like a big band for me to get into more like intense stuff like that when I first discovered them.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the basis of putting them on that list was that. Um, that's probably definitely my least favorite of their releases so far. I haven't gone back to it too much, but it's still a really solid release, and still probably would have been on my list from that year. Um, and I don't know, their first two albums especially, and the third album not as much, but like they've released pretty solid stuff, and their sound changes like slightly with each album, which is cool.
16. JPEG Mafia, Lay Down My Life for You. JPEG Mafia is one of my favorite artists. If you follow this channel, he's one of my favorite modern artists, and I really love following his stuff. Though that's why it's kind of interesting that this would be so low on my list, but people probably wouldn't think it would be so low. But it's just one of my least favorites of his work that he's released so far. To be honest, I just really loved a certain era on it, a certain era of his music, and I'm a big fan of metal music and such, and he mixed that in on this, which I thought was interesting and cool. And he had like a unique style of how he put that in on this album. But it's just like the sounds just don't click with me as much, I guess, and I just really liked the kind of his like middle era stuff that he did better and through LP, and that's just always going to be a sweet spot for me, I guess. But I'm still really excited to see what he keeps expanding in the future. He's just such a versatile artist and just like has such a very unique sound and persona, and I just still really love him a lot. 15.
Yeah, I guess I still feel the same way about that. I haven't really gone back to that album much, but I have gone back to some of his other stuff, like the like veteran through LP era. Is my favorite still, and that album was big for that year though. I did listen to it a lot that year, and I wanted to get more into it, and kept listening to it. And I saw him perform a lot of the songs live, but just still not that special as like the other parts that I have with him.
Porter Robinson, Smile. This is one that I'd heard of Porter Robinson in the past, and I listened to some of his last album called Nurture that came out in 2021, I believe. It's interesting, a lot of people's like for last full-length albums came out in 2021, and they were released them in 2024 again. But yeah, I really liked this one. It's just kind of like this kind of like indie electronica, pop style, kind of like EDM sounds mixed in with it as well. That's kind of what you started out as. But I ended up really liking this album, and it just like there's a lot of sounds on it that like make me feel good and just like remind me of certain times in my life, like the 2010s kind of electronic indie music, and just like the kind of the pop anthems that came out during that time that I was overhearing, like when I was out doing things in the warm months, like the theme parks and stuff. So it just like brings good memories up in me. And the song Rushing Your Light is actually kind of a fairly emotional song, and I actually really like that song. One of my favorite songs of the year, I'd probably say. And yeah, I just really liked just like every song on this album. It's really just catchy and fun, and can be emotional at times, and I just really like it, and just really like the sounds, and it's just a great all-around project.
I still do really like that album. It was fun and does bring like kind of emotions inside of me just because like I remember hearing that music when I was younger and stuff, and like I said about the theme parks and stuff and being outside, and it has like a kind of a positive, mostly positive kind of air to it, and I don't know, probably it probably would still make my list, but I'm not sure.
14, Hecaton Chair, Nightmare Utopia. This was like the first like kind of like metal album or extreme metal album that actually caught my ear this year. I was really struggling. I wasn't really liking any metal music that was really being released. Nothing was like everything was just like fine, like it's okay, like just like everything sounded like fairly the same. And this has a lot of like this stuff that I'm familiar with, like the sounds of like more modern like death metal and black metal and stuff. But I just really like this one. It's just like it's fairly short.
It's
It's
so
like a little
different
over
from
30
this year
minutes
because I
long.
like so much metal
But it
from
just has
this
like a
year.
great, just like it just the sounds are just there's a good mix of sounds on it. It can be very like the first track is very atmospheric, kind of black metalish sounding. And then it goes down and it's just like more of all around kind of like a dissonant death metal album. And it just really caught my ear, and I've just gone back to it all like ever since it came out throughout the year. And I really like the vocals on it, and just like the instrumentation is really good. It's just like a lot of just like the like when it comes to modern black and death metal, just all the
It
sounds that
is a
are on
really
this,
solid
they're just
album. I
you
like
just like
it.
mix
I
them
need to
together
go
so
back to it
well
and
on
listen
this
to it
album,
again
and I
soon.
really enjoy it. 13, Chet Pile, Cool World.
Talked about this
I really
before.
liked their last album, God's Country, when that came out, and I believe it was 2022 that one came out. And I wasn't. It kind of like went down on me. I didn't really like. It's not one that's like really stuck with me going back to a lot and a lot. But I was fairly familiar with it. I was listening to it a lot, but so I wasn't like too optimistic about this album. I wasn't too like excited about it. But then when I started listening to it, I just like really I really liked it. And it just like brought me back. It's definitely kind of a continuation of what they did on their last album. But I actually
I
prefer
still
this
don't really
album
go back to
over
them that
that
much,
album,
honestly,
and
but it
I
is a
just really
cool
like the
album.
sound on this one.
And I do think I
And
do like it better than
just
their
a
first
lot of the
one.
songs are just so good, and it's just like can be so crushing, and there's just a lot of cool things mixed in on this
I'm sure I'll
album
go back to it someday.
that is a little bit different than their last album. But a really cool band, a really unique band. Actually got a little bit of traction in the underground over the past few years, and I think it's well deserved. 12, Frail Body, Artificial Bouquet. This is an album I listened to a lot this year, like over and over again. After I discovered it, probably on like I think it came out
This
at
would
like
be
the
a
end of
top 10
March or
album for me
something.
now. I still
So kind
really,
of
really like this
getting into that
album.
spring and summertime, and this album accompanied me sunbathing a lot this year. I always had my
Really solid
sunbathing
Screamo
albums. They're
album.
usually kind of like atmospheric, kind of ish
Black
sounding,
Aces kind of
and
album is really good.
this is just a really just great screamo album. They're just like, straight up screamo album, but I think it really has a lot of black gaze influence in with it too. It definitely comes off as some black gazy sounds in here as well. It kind of creates that atmosphere that I was kind of talking about. And I feel like I had maybe heard of Frail Body before, but this album just like really stuck with me. And I really
Really
liked
awesome
the
album
album
artwork
artwork on it
too.
and just the sound that
Yeah.
it created. I was
Yeah.
listening to it over and over again, just
funny.
like I would when I first got into it, I was kind of working on a painting project at work, and I just kind of just had it on rotation. I just loved like cycling it. I was just really hooked on it. I really like the sound of it, and it's really crushing and just awesome screamo, and it's really solid. If you like this stuff, definitely check it out. 11, Topographies, Interior Spring. I found this album really early this year. I think it came out in January actually, and I've heard like nobody talking about this album, and I really think it deserves some more attention because it's just like a great, just kind of post-punk album, and I just really enjoy it. It's just the sounds. There's so many great, just like synth pop sounds and just post-punk, just all around that, just like the sounds. I just love the sounds that come out of that kind of style of music that within that little spectrum of kind of like gothy stuff. And I really like the album artwork on this one as well, and just like it's just one that I've come back to and just one I've listened to a lot, especially earlier this year. and I would definitely recommend it to anybody that's kind of into like post-punky kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was definitely really into that earlier that year. I was really just into stuff like that early in the year in 2024. And this one I need to like download this or something back on my computer or something, so I don't even think I have it on like an iPod or anything right now, but it is a really solid post-punk album from what I remember, and I'd love to go back and listen to it.
Number 10, Denzel Curry, Kings of the Mischievous South, Volume 2.
This would be another top 10
Um,
album for sure.
this one is kind of like instantly kind of pulled me in, and I'm a huge fan of the Memphis hip hop style,
He just did
and
it so
I love
well.
how Denzel, it just goes with Denzel so well, just like his attitude and stuff with the more kind of hardcore hip hop sounds, and he just did a really good job of like mixing that Memphis like 90s Memphis sound with like a more modern hip hop approach to it, and it's so solid all around. I mean, you got like the samples, you got all the people on it, and he's got Kingpin with like all the skits and stuff, and then he's um got Project Pat on here, and it's just exciting. It has so many great people from that scene that are still living and featured on the album, and I'm just a sucker for that style of hip hop. It's one of my favorites, and just like I just it just like I said suits Denzel so well, and this is my favorite album of his so far, and I really just have been enjoying it and excited to keep enjoying it.
Still agree with that.
9, Candelabrum, Transmutations. This is a black metal artist from Portugal that I found out about in 2022 when they released their album Nocturnal Trance that I really liked a lot. It's a great, just kind of like ambient black metal project. Their last two albums, especially, are very ambient black metal, like ambient mixed with raw black metal. And this has such a great sound, and just like it's just such a great black metal sound to it. And this album got even more like into just like heavy on the ambience, and even mixed some like post-punk layers in with it as well. And it's really just like one of the most unique black metal albums of last like in a while. And that's kind of what I
I
look
can
for
agree with that.
with a lot of metal music. I love a lot of different types of metal music and modern metal music, but I'm just really kind of looking for somebody to be doing something different, not just doing the same thing over again. And
I don't necessarily 100% agree with that anymore. I guess I somewhat agree with that within black metal. I get pretty bored with a lot of modern black metal. I love a lot of the classics, and but when it comes to like death metal and stuff, like I'm just like a sucker for like just some of just like the straight up death metal stuff. But that's still like a reason I'm not too excited about like some modern music. Like I got into a lot of like modern metal stuff last year and was really excited about a lot of metal releases last year, but they are just still kind of run of the mill, and I was just really I just get a comfort from it, so I just was enjoying it so much. But like a lot of them, like they really have to have like an effect on me, and like I have to like go back to them a ton to like really for me to put them on a list now. But I really want to go back and listen to this album again. It is very interesting and a cool sound within black metal.
it's definitely one of the most unique albums I've heard in quite a while. So 8, The Cure, Songs of a Lost World. Um, Man, wasn't like I was definitely excited for a new Cure album. I love The Cure. I've been a big fan of The Cure for quite a long time, and just love their sounds. But it being just like so late in their career, you just don't really like think that somebody might drop something that's really good again. But this album is actually very good.
Straight
And it's
fire.
very comparable to their 80s albums, I would say.
Banger after banger
It's
on
like
that shit.
the sister to Disintegration. And sure, people were saying that they have like just kind of going off of this same kind of Disintegration sound, not experimenting with something new, but I don't care at all. I mean, I just like such being such a Cure fan. I think this is like an album for Cure fans, and as it should be. And the Cure wanted to do what they wanted to do for this project, and it really just amazes me just like how like Robert Smith's vocals sound exactly the same as they did in the 80s, and
It certainly doesn't look the
And
same as
it's
he
just
did in
like
the
this,
80s, so.
like one of the best like comeback albums I think I've ever heard. Like I usually don't look out for like
looking a little bit
albums for
rough
people that haven't
there,
released albums
buddy,
in
but
what has it been like 13 years at least. Um, that they released their last album, and it's just really good. I think I said it started growing on me a
it
little
is
bit when
really
I
good.
didn't listen to the singles. I just like I'm not a big like singles person, I guess, most of the time. I just like to listen to the album and experience the album for the first time when it comes out. But I remember seeing the album artwork for the album. I was like, okay, like yeah, you
Okay.
shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge an album by its cover. But album artwork is a big thing for me, and it kind of like okay, I'm looking forward to this a little bit more. I think might end up liking it, and then I ended up really liking it. I really like the sounds on it, and it's such a great Cure album, and it's just excited that it came out and came out as good as it did.
Would still be top 10
Seven,
easily.
Kim Gordon, The Collective.
Fuck
Um, I was really I was a big fan of Sonic Youth for quite a while, and I still like their music, but I just don't go back to it as much as I used to. But I was like really obsessed with them at one point when I was getting into their music, and I was pretty excited to see that Kim Gordon was releasing a solo album. And I didn't really listen to any of her other solo stuff that she's released, but this one just kind of caught my ear. It's just like this industrial kind of trap album, and just thought it was really
yeah.
interesting
Fucking bop
sounding,
after
and just
bop, bro.
like
Shit is
every
hard.
song just like has like these beats and sounds I just love so much.
Shit
She
goes
just
the
did so
fuck
well
off.
with it, with her just like traditional vocals. Another thing with like what I said on the last one, like with Robert Smith's vocals sounding the same on the Cure album, Kim Gordon's vocals still sound very similar as they did back in the day, and she's got her own unique style and vocal style, and I just really, really, really like this album. It's just really solid, and it's fun and funny, and just like the beats are just sick. I just love the industrial sounds and experimental stuff that she's always kind of been a part of, and um, I think she even like went somewhat viral on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok person, but I know like her song Bye Bye, like her talking about like packing all this stuff, and but it's just like the beats are just solid, man, and I just really love the album. There's a great air to it, and just like really wowed me this year.
Yeah, I still really fuck with that album. I have not been listening to it much this year or the previous year, but I still just know that shit goes off, and it was really fucking cool. I still really like that album.
6, Bedsore, Dreaming the Strife for. This is one that actually just kind of caught my ear like in the past month, and I usually don't like stuff like this.
I really like the album cover on this one.
And
It's really cool.
a lot of people have been talking about the new Blood Incantation album, and I think this is like very comparable to that album to an extent, but I just think these guys just did it so much better and so much more interesting to me. And they just mix like this, it sounds like a 70s prog album mixed with just like black metal instrument, there's a little bit of black metal instrumentation and vocals, and it's just really just interesting. And it just like I was really surprised that it kept pulling me back in, because I usually, like I said, I usually don't like stuff like this, but there's just like heavy emphasis on like synthesizers and like the organ sounds, and I just think they put it together so well, and it just like all flows so well together, and just like really keeps me entranced. And it's just like probably one of the most interesting metal albums of the year, I'd have to say. And it just I'm just excited about it, I guess. I just like it's like interesting to me that I liked it so much, and this really stands out to me. And I feel like more people need to be paying attention to this one, since so many people are loving the Blood Incantation album. I think anybody that likes that album should really definitely check this one out. So I just think they can blow it out of the park on this one.
That is like I have not really gone back to that album since that time. I was very intrigued by it at the time. I was listening to it like every day. I need to listen to it again, but as of right now, I don't think it would be as high. But I think I was just excited that I was like somewhat into that type of style, and then like next thing I know, I'm like digging into like all different types of metal again that I didn't like the first go around, and it just like kind of sent me down this thing of just listening to a lot of metal music. So
I have More Mother, The Great Bailout. More Mother is an artist that I kind of just got turned on to this year, after I got into Billy Woods very heavily, and they like to work with each other a lot. They actually released an album back in 2020 called Brass, that they collaborated and did together, and I really like fell in love with the album this year, and turned me more on to More Mother, and I saw that she released this full-length album this year, and she's just like really interesting artist. I really like her vocals, and I like her subject matter, and her poetry, and she's just like an artist. I'd say she's like very like I just like see her stuff being like shown or like played like in a museum or something. And I love the album artwork on this one, and goes so well with the music. And I love her vocals, her vocal style, and it's just like a great, just like it kind of experimental, just straight up like experimental kind of noisy stuff going on here. And I just really like the sounds that it creates. And I love the whole concept of the album that is about the great bailout that happened in like I think 1830 something, 34, 33. It's talking about the in Great Britain after slavery was abolished in Great Britain, how the slave owners, the former slave owners, were compensated for their loss of property. And of course, the slaves didn't get in. The freed slaves got nothing, and it just shows just like how just like the fucked up world. And I think it was a great just representation of that, and unique. Like a lot of people, me being in America, mostly talk about American slavery, and it was interesting to see the perspective on the slavery of the UK, and I just thought it was just executed so well, and got me to learn a few things, and just like she just executed it so well, and had a lot of great addition to this album, and just really highly recommend it.
Still very much agree with all that.
Position Parallel, Aguel de Codre. I probably didn't pronounce that right, but I do know it translates to sewing needle. But this is a really fun album here, synth pop album, just like one of the best synth pop albums I've heard in a long time, like the modern synth pop album. It just has so many great sounds on it. I've been seeing this like tease. I've been seeing it coming out. Not a mainstream artist by any means. Most people probably never even heard of this. But he, the main person in this project, is also a part of a project called Dernier Volante, that I got really like interested in the past year or two, and I'd known about Position Parallel, but I'd listened to some of their other albums, but this one just like really clicked with me, and I just really have been enjoying listening to this. It's such a fun album, and just like so many, like everything about synth pop that I like is like on this album, and I just really appreciate it. 3.
So I fucking love that album so much. That would be number one now. Easily would take the number one spot of that year. I love that fucking album.
Yeet, 2093. This is an album that came out earlier this year, I think back in February, and I was very aware of when it came out. I was actually pretty excited about it because I had heard, I got into him last year in 2023, when he released his album Afterlife, and that one just like kind of grew on me, and I love it even more now than I did last year, and I still kind of regret not putting it on my list last year. It would have easily made my top 5. But I was just like being a dumbass about it.
I talked about that last time. In the last video.
Didn't really like 2093 at first, and I kept coming back to it, but it wasn't really clicking with me. And then just like in the past like 2 months, it really clicked with me hard, and I was listening to it almost every single day, and just really loving it. And he just like kind of brought over that kind of like psychedelic trap sound that he has. And that I love so much from his last album, and just like put his own kind of little twist on it, like this dystopian kind of concept to it, and just like these interesting kind of more trippy sounds that just like I feel like just go with the album so well. And I just think he really did a good job on this album, and you just kind of looked at it as kind of like a meme artist kind of to an extent, kind of came up through TikTok and stuff, but I thought he just like did a really good job with this album, and I really like his sounds. I think they're really interesting and cool sounding, and just like yeah, it's like some of these like styles of hip hop mixed in that I like grew up listening to like through my middle and high school years, and it just has like a soft spot for me and just like makes me feel comforted. And this album just brings a great comfort to me, and I really just
The
like it a
comfort
lot.
music once
And I just think
again.
he did a really good job, and I think he deserves
Just
more credit
realizing
than
that
he
with
gets,
myself.
and just like the hip hop and music world in general. Two,
That I still really like that album. I still like Heat. He's like the top like modern trap artist. Like I like his music. It's fucking fun. And I really liked his EP that came out last year in 2025, Dangerous Summer. That was really fucking good. I listened to that quite a lot. Didn't talk about that in my year end list video, obviously, but that was really good. I went to that back to that quite a lot too last year. And the he released another album in 2024, and that was actually what set off me going back to 2093. Is that he released this album called Lifestyle, and that was just like just trap banger rage shit, like one after the other. And then I like really liked that, and then like I went back to 2093, and I just got fucking hooked on that shit. So it was just like so intriguing and interesting to me, and I just liked that. So it was still probably definitely be in the top 10. Definitely in the top 10.
MGMT, Loss of Life. So I made, if people who follow my channel know, I made a video earlier this year of my initial thoughts of this project, and I did not really like it at all, to be honest with you. But it is just like something I've come back to throughout the year, and
Super
just
comforting
completely
once
fallen in
again.
love with this album.
Super comforting.
And I get such a great comfort from it now, and MGMT is one of my favorite bands, duos, groups, musical groups ever. And I just fell really hard in love with them years and years ago, and they've been a part of my musical like journey throughout these years. And I just like it just didn't click with me at first, and then it just like I just kept pulling me back, and then it just grew on me so much. I love singing along to it now, and I loved how this album has really grown on me. It can really just show how albums grow and grow on people, and I just love it. I just love MGMT. I think they're an amazing group. Just like definition of a group not selling out. They did so great on their first album with like these pop singles, and then they just kept doing what they wanted to do, kept doing their own thing, and it's just incredible. It's just like exactly what I love in artists. And I just the first album in 6 years. I was really anticipating this one, and I'm happy that I've fallen in love with it, and I'm excited for the next album in 6 to 8 years.
I still very much agree with that. MGMT is a very important band to me, and I really still really like all of their music. I got really obsessed with them with their self-titled albums. This very like new psychedelia album, and I still love that album. It was so important to me of getting into weirder music. And that's another thing. There's like weirdo rock music and shit is like another big part of me, and I love shit like that. And I love this fucking band, and I hope they make something sooner than 6 to 8 years. Honestly,
Number one,
I want to go
Taylor.
back and listen to that album.
Wait, hold on a second. Number one, Katy. Damn it! The fuck. All right, for real this time. I'm gonna get it right. Number one, Charlie XCX, Brat. A lot of people probably knew this was coming. I'm a huge Charlie XCX fan. My favorite pop artist. Said it so many times. When I want to listen to pop music, I want to listen to Charlie, and that's exactly and this album. I went to the release show of it. Didn't like love it so much. Like I liked the singles on it. Heard some singles, but I didn't love it like incredibly when I first heard it. It was like in a crowded like record store, and couldn't hear it that well. But then just steadily kept growing on me, and it's just like it's such a Charlie album. It's kind of her getting back to her roots, like the kind of like dance and like rave stuff that she was mixed in with what got her going, honestly, back when she was doing stuff on MySpace and got noticed by a rave artist and started doing raves, DJing raves and stuff. And it's just such a Charlie album, and she's very vulnerable in this album, just like, and I really commend her for that. And she just like all the songs are just so good, just all so good. I haven't really been paying too much about like attention to like the deluxe version or just like the actual like remix edition. I think just the original Bratz that released was really an incredible album and one of Charlie's best for sure. Don't know if I'd say it's my favorite by her, but it's just another great Charlie XCX album and blows Crash out of the park, I'd say, in my opinion. But I'm very excited that this ended up coming out and that she got a lot of traction this year. And this is a very popular opinion. A lot of people have called Brat their number one this year, but Brat Summer was a big thing, and she just marketed herself so well. And I feel like she really deserves the recognition for this. Me being a guy that's really into a lot of underground music and just like hesitant towards like big popular stuff, it kind of like hurts me a little bit that she's like gotten so big, but like
it's bittersweet.
I'm happy for her and she deserves it. She's an incredible artist and deserves way more recognition than any other pop artist in the world right now.
I'd still somewhat agree with that. Yeah. I really like Brat. It's a good album. And it just fit for me to put it as number one just because it was such a big deal that year, and that was just like a whole like thing. And I was like somewhat happy about that trend just because I really liked her, and I'm surprised that she never really had gotten that popular yet. But I really like her music, and I'd say my favorite album of hers at this moment is How I'm Feeling Now. Just like really wraps up that sound that I really like of hers, and I'm interested to see what her new album is. I'm just not online at all anymore, so I just don't really like, I don't know how much I'll even listen to it or like even do anything with it. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm definitely gonna check it out at some point. But Brad, I don't like I said, Position Parallel would definitely take it. I think Brad would probably definitely still be in the top five for me that year. But I still really like Charlie, but when people go like super mainstream, it's like always kind of pulls me away a little bit. But let's look at some other stuff here from that year, real quick. That could stand out. Like say Position Parallel, I already talked about, would be number one. This Gigan album is pretty cool. So this sci-fi like technical death metal album is pretty cool. The Ammobolus Abstracticits, whatever the fuck, I don't even know what the last word is. This other one right here, Zompantili, it's like this like beating the drums of ancestral something, but it's like this Native American inspired black metal, and this cover is fucking sick, and I just really like it. I think it's fucking cool. See if I can show you like a bigger thing of the artwork. And I actually have, I don't know, I didn't think about that. I got the fucking tape right here, just fucking sick. I really like this cover, and the music is really cool. It's really good, just death metal. It has that like ancestral kind of feel to it, which is fucking cool. Really like that one. That would be pretty high on the list. This Ancients album is pretty fucking cool too. I really like this album cover as well. This one is it's kind of similar to Ghost, but a little bit more intense. It has more of a like death metal kind of thing mixed in with it, like death metal style mixed in with it. But definitely reminds me of Ghost, and it's really cool. I really like that album too. That would have been on my list probably if I were making a bigger list. This Slime Lord album too was pretty solid. Modern death metal album. And like fucking Cavalier. The other one more so definitely than this one. This one's not as big, but we have this Fatboy Sheriff album, which is a backwoods release that I missed, which is really cool, kind of similar to Injury Reserve. I talked about that in my tape video. And the K the I album, K the I and Kenny Siegel, was also on Backwoods, came out that year. But those definitely stick out from that year. Those would have been very high, definitely like in the top 10. I ended up really liking this Primitive Warfare album from that year, Extinction Protocol as well. I think I have a fucking tape of that too. Forgot I even gotten that shit. And pull that shit out real quick. This long, I know this video is getting fucking long, but bear with me. I forgot that video was so long. This Primitive Warfare, Syngin Protocol. It's pretty sick war metal. And then I was also thinking of this Brodekin album actually really grew on me after this list too, and those would definitely be on my list, and a lot of that stuff wouldn't have been on there as much. This like Soul Massive album, really cool, like this kind of science fiction, like electronic sound, like ambient thing. It's really fucking cool. I really like that. False Negative, Soul Massive. If you like electronic, like dark electronic sci-fi kind of shit, that one's really fucking cool. Kendrick Lamar, GNX would definitely have been in the top 10. I really liked that one. That was really fucking cool. It really grew on me tremendously. Fucking Judas Priest, bro. This was sick. This Priest album, I just was not into like heavy metal at the time, but that Priest album's fucking sick. Yeah, like it's really fucking solid heavy metal album. Definitely that Invincible Shield album is fucking sick. I really liked that one. Oxkey I've been kind of getting into a little bit. I guess Wyrnd released an album that year too. I have a lot of shit from fucking last year. But those were definitely really big ones, and then we're getting into the 2025 now, but yeah, those were the big ones for sure. Like, so if I were to like add things to the list, that would definitely have been on the list from last year that were not on there, and just like definitely take some stuff off. Judas Priest definitely would be up there. Brodekin and Kendrick and K the I and Kenny Siegel. Primitive Warfare would have been decent. It probably would have been on there if I were making a long list. Soul Massive would have been on there if it was making a long list. Oh, the Fatboy Seraph and Steel Tip Dove album, definitely. And maybe Ancients and Zambatellini, but yeah, probably not. Like, they would have been on there, but like, I don't know. I don't even know. I'm just fucking rambling now, but that's my list for that one. So that ends the trilogy of these videos. I'm sorry this one got kind of long-winded. Sorry, but not sorry. Like, it is what it is. Nothing I can fucking do about it now. And I enjoyed making these, so it was cool to reflect on this and see just like how I just like missed so much stuff in like 2024 specifically. Like, even found stuff in recent years that I really like in this past year that like I missed from that year. And I don't know if I'll do that much for 2025 or not. I just found like so much shit in 2025, and I was pretty like sure of what I loved in 2025. So, but I'm not going to rule it out. But yeah, so that was my video. Make it super long-winded, but I'm gonna go ahead and peace and see you guys later. Back with a quick side note real quick, just while I'm thinking about it. I was kind of rushing to get out of the video because it was getting so fucking long, but I just had to mention this. This would have been probably definitely in my top 10 last year. And that was this Cavalier and Child Actor album. Scene, I talked about this in my Backwoods vinyl video, but I love this one. It was my favorite, probably my favorite Woods release from 2024. It beat those other two albums, Fatboy Sheriff and K the I. This one is definitely my favorite from those releases, and I was listening to it at the end of that year, and so that was definitely a standout. Would have been in the top 10 easily. So yeah, all right, for real this time. Later.